region's leading digital commerce free zone.
Right, let's talk to one CEO who's at the beginning of his and his company's journey as a listed company. He is Haider Khan. He is with us live in our pop-up studio at Dubai Commerce City. He's the CEO of Dubizzle Group, MENA. Haider, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning to you as well.
So let's start off with talk of IPO, of what is now called Dubizzle Group. So Dubizzle and Bayut in my simple terms. You've hinted at this before in the past. Lots of stories on the likes of Bloomberg and Reuters doing the rounds that you've appointed investment banks for this, that, and the other. Lots of rumors on the business breakfast, I'm not going to lie as well. What's really going on?
As you pointed out, we run two brands under Dubizzle Group, which are Dubizzle and Bayut. And these are two of the largest digital brands in the country. This is a part in the evolution of the company itself and the brands themselves, that we've reached a level where we can look at those kind of things where, obviously in the natural evolution of a company, after 8-10 years, if you're successful, you start looking at, what's the best for the investors and the shareholders and the people working at the company. So certainly one path of the...
You know what, Haider, I'm just going to stop you there because your microphone is cutting in and out a little bit. Can we get one of the tech team to come and help Haider with his microphone? Our producer, Isa, is telling me it's working perfectly, so let's carry on, Haider. Carry on. I interrupted your thought. Forgive me.
No worries. So as part of the natural evolution of the company, and if you reach that point, then you start looking at what's best for shareholders, investors, and the employees. And one of the paths going forward would be an IPO, and there are other options as well. As the CEO of the company over here, my job and our job internally is to make sure that we're prepared for any eventuality. IPO being one. So there's a lot of work that typically you have to do to be generally a listed company. As I said, we continue to study those things and understand where do we stand and what do we have to do if and when we actually go for that. So.
Would you consider Dubai, the DFM, it's your hometown, it would seem the obvious choice. But maybe 18 months ago, all the rage were these SPAC deals, special purpose acquisition companies. And we had some local firms doing it. Algami, for example, the streaming music provider, did a SPAC in the United States. What's your thinking about location?
So SPACs were essentially, what you would call de-SPACing. It was essentially a shortcut to getting into the stock market. The company that was being acquired by the SPAC would just get listed. And there was a lot of activity in 2021, 2022 around that stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of those companies haven't fared that well because I think some of the valuations were off when these things happened. It was money that was available. It needed to be parked. And then to your point of, the U.S. stock market versus local markets, look, there's a lot of excitement around the local markets in the region. I think there's will from the authorities to make sure that we have a flourishing local market, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because these brands are known over here. They're not known in the West, right? It'd be funny to say, oh, okay, do you know what Dubizzle is in New York City? I don't know how many people would know. So from that angle, generally speaking, it makes a lot of sense. And I think if you look at, while there's a dearth of tech IPOs, I think in the region, for the few that have happened, they've gotten a local premium, for example, in Saudi. So it's pretty exciting times to be in the region.
So your last round of fundraising, I'm looking on your website, was October of last year, right?
Correct.
You raised $200 million from investors, including Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner, the actor, involved in that. But there wasn't a valuation put on the company at the time. I described you as a unicorn when you came in, billion-dollar tech company. What can you tell us about your valuation at the moment, or is it all secret squirrel at the moment?
I think you answered it yourself. We decided not to disclose it, and we're going to stick with that right now. But yes, we did raise money last year, and we raised it, as you said, around October 2022. The toughest environment to raise money, frankly. Last year was a very difficult year to raise money, and I guess that is a testament to the region and also the company itself that we were able to raise, and we have a lot of those funds in the bank.
Well, what about the core business? As we said, it's Dubizzle Group, but you've got Dubizzle and Bayut, the real estate division. When it comes to, let's look at the UAE market that we know. I know you're regional. I don't see an obvious competitor to Dubizzle in terms of classified listings. Everyone has competitors, but I can't see an obvious one. And yet when it comes to real estate, it seems like there's Coke and Pepsi. There's you guys and there's Property Finder. And again, there are others. But it strikes me that this is almost a two-horse race. How accurate a characterization is that?
Look, I think when it comes to Dubizzle, there really is no second. You could possibly argue that there's a Facebook Marketplace, but I think what's not very obvious to perhaps the eye is that there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes at Dubizzle, which is also very localized. As you must be aware that lately and over the last few years, there've been a lot of scams and people getting scammed and etc. And so we've been on a drive to get a lot of people verified on Dubizzle, and happy to report that we have over 220,000 people who are verified on Dubizzle, and we're going to continue on that journey to make sure it's a safe place for people to interact and transact. So when it comes to general classifieds, it's Dubizzle. Dubizzle is the place. And then as we continue to look to adding more value-added services, etc., we're just going to keep increasing the gap with whatever else is out there. When it comes to property, yes, it's a pretty happening market. But again, and yes, there's competition, and competition is always healthy and welcome. That's fine. But just to give you a stat, between Bayut and Dubizzle, we're roughly getting about 60 to 65% of the population on the platform every month. And this is, I'm talking about like 6 million people.
Transacting or just having a look?
Having a look and some transacting. Everybody is not transacting all the time, but so we have immense coverage in the UAE, very deep coverage in the UAE when it comes to people looking for items.
And what about around the region? The biggest economy is Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
I know you're active there, but obviously not with the brand Dubizzle.
Sure.
Ironically, you're Dubizzle Group, but you're only known as Dubizzle in the UAE.
Yeah.
Just explain that to us.
So yes, we are Dubizzle Group, and we're known as Dubizzle in the UAE, but we also have rebranded in the region. So Egypt, we were running OLX, which is, it's a funny story. It used to be Dubizzle back in the day, then it became OLX, and we've rebranded it to Dubizzle.
Okay.
And generally in the broader region as well, if you look at GCC countries, we do run general classifieds over there, like in Oman, and they've all been rebranded to Dubizzle.
Does the brand resonate there? Because the dub bit is very local, isn't it?
It is very local, correct. But I think everybody knows about Dubai and then also knows about Dubizzle. So not at every level, but I think in certain circles, it's certainly well known. And then it's like any other business where you have to, if it's local in a country, then you just have to go and spend the dollars to market it and then build it up.
Oh, well, we're all loving your adverts at the moment on digital adverts. The guy in the big hat and the record player.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, blimey. Maybe we'll talk more about that. Can you stick around for a few minutes?
Absolutely.
Lots more questions. Lots of questions coming in on the text message system. If you've got a question for Haider Khan, he's the CEO of Dubizzle Group in this region, then do please let us know. 4001 04871 5500. We're going to be talking about a range of things, including creating digital ecosystems, like this one down at Commerce City. Haider spent 15 years in Austin, Texas, a big tech hub in the United States. All that to come.
The region's leading digital commerce free zone.
Yeah, our guest this morning is Haider Khan. He is the CEO of Dubizzle Group for the Middle East and North Africa. Haider, thanks for sticking around.
Sure, absolutely.
So we're here in Dubai Commerce City, and you were saying you hadn't been here before. I hadn't spent a lot of time here before this week either. And it's almost incongruous, isn't it? Because you said you were driving here around Ramul, the old industrial area of Dubai. And then suddenly you hit upon this place that looks like Silicon Valley.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I was just coming in. I thought I was almost at the airport, and out of nowhere, this place appears. And this is my first time here. Wonderful. Yeah, it's very nice.
It's a big campus. It's 2.1 million square feet, which is 27 football pitches. They've got 100 warehouses as well as fancy offices like this. And I'm wondering how important it is to create these ecosystems. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, the word ecosystem, and yet it's important. Silicon Valley, of course, is one. We could be on a campus in Silicon Valley here. You spent nearly 2 decades in Austin, Texas. Similarly, a big tech hub in the United States. Is it just a cliche that we need an ecosystem and swanky offices like this, or is it real?
No, look, I mean, I think all of this plays a part, right? I mean, since it is an ecosystem, and this just happens to be one of the components of the ecosystem. So these things do have an impact. I am still a believer of that people need to come and collaborate in a place, and Zoom is perhaps not the best way to do it. So these kind of places actually do, bring about a different kind of a setup, which is very important in my opinion. And play a key role in the overall ecosystem, right? Which is a much larger ecosystem.
So is the Dubizzle team pretty much back in the office now?
Oh yeah, we were back in the office on May 5th, 2020, right after things opened up. Yeah.
But you're a big believer in that. You see the benefits.
Yeah, I do. And look, I mean, because a lot of, for me personally, I need that private space. I need, it's very difficult. I tried this back in the US too. I tried to work from home, and it was always just very difficult because the kids thought I was not really working, and the wife thought that I was not working, and so I just like my space when I get into my zone. I like that. But more importantly, I think it's just the ability to collaborate, right? Being in that environment, away from what you have to worry about at home, and actually focus on what you have to do. I think your productivity actually goes up, and the mental drain is not as much when you're actually physically interacting as opposed to Zoom. And I'm sure you remember those days of back-to-back Zoom meetings, besides the lower back pain. It was just very, just heavy on the shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of working from the office.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about workspace without talking about WeWork. Tom and Brandy mentioned breaking news there within the past hour, WeWork filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Clearly, commercially, it's not been a success. And yet, I think their legacy in workspace design is probably felt even in places like this. I mean, if you watch it on TV, you can see us. You can probably hear the barista in the background as well.
Yeah.
If you're listening on radio, let me paint a picture. We're in a very swanky modern office building. There's a 5-6-story atrium that we're sitting in the middle of here in the lobby. Haider and I are kind of trying to be cool and trendy and young. We're none of the above, but we're trying. We're sitting on steps here rather than on a chair. It's all colourful cushions, and it looks really cool. And I think WeWork, from my sense, has played some small part in that. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think certainly, right? I mean, creating these environments for collaboration, that was the whole principle, and not having to deal with all the headaches that would come with renting a space, putting it together, and putting all the rooms and design and etc., so on and so forth. So yeah, they've played a part. But again, I think if you go to like the bigger companies in the US and you go to their campuses, they're all set up like this. They're big campuses. I mean, you can practically live there. You can eat there, you can jog there, you can exercise, go for a walk. They're just set up in such a manner to kind of fully embrace life in the office space.
I remember going to the Microsoft campus about 5 years ago, and they said, because all the buildings are numbered, depending on when they were built, and we're going to have a meeting in one of our older buildings today. Meet us at building 84. And that's one of your older ones.
We'd probably take a bus, or, call a cab. But certainly, right? And I think, that would be pretty interesting when we will start seeing that trend over here too. I mean, I think because it creates that culture. So it would be really nice if, for example, if Dubizzle had its own campus. It almost becomes an institution, right? So yeah.
We will watch this space. Can we talk about artificial intelligence?
Oh, sure. Absolutely, yeah.
This week we had Elon Musk launching his new AI chatbot called Grok.
Yeah.
And he's following the footsteps of others. We had ChatGPT from Microsoft. You had Bard from Google. And Bayut GPT as well from you guys. So Elon's in good company.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still has a long way to go. The way I look at AI right now, at least in this generative text space, is it's really there to help make things more efficient from a productivity angle. It's still not clear how you're going to monetize it, and let's see who kind of wins that one. But certainly, if you want to coalesce a lot of information and make sense of it, these kind of tools are very, very good for helping you. And then with Bayut, I think what we wanted to do was, historically, the search on the platform and all property platforms across the world, they're very filter driven, as in they specify a location, specify the type of place that you want. And I think it's been an eye-opener for us since we launched Bayut GPT, because you actually start understanding what people are looking for. You start seeing queries which have not much to do with the number of bedrooms. It might be ROI. It might be find me a place close to the metro, or and it's really good, as I said, from a productivity angle, to go and know and understand which properties to show them, and then kind of just hoping to revolutionize that whole space to make it a lot more interactive.
How big an investment does that take to create something like that and then finesse it and refine it over the years?
I think that's the second part. The latter part is the more difficult part, right? Because you can create it, and obviously with AI and ML, it's all about
machine
learning. Exactly, right? So machine learning, you keep learning, keep training, and as we like to say, it's very easy for these models to hallucinate. Is to kind of go into this la zone and just start talking about stuff, maybe related to life or afterlife. It doesn't really matter. They do veer off. So it's it takes a lot of effort to make sure they stay within the zone and the relevancy, and actually just don't take off a tangent somewhere else. Yeah.
20 seconds left. Let's look forward to 2024 and beyond. What's your moonshot? 20 seconds. Tell me something in the pipeline that's a little bit offbeat.
We have been mainly on the Bizzle. Essentially, we really want to create a more trusted space, and as I mentioned earlier, we've been working on this verified user accounts, and that's what we're really focused on right now, because I feel like if it's a more secure place, then people will interact freely and transact freely. So that's what we're really going after. And then there's a few.
Haider, we're going to have to leave that thought
Sure.
for the next time because we've got to go to the traffic. It's been fascinating talking to you. Appreciate you joining us down here at Dubai Commerce City. The thoughts of Haider Ali Khan. He's the CEO of Dubizzle Group for the MENA region.